This is I'm Friends with the DJ, hosted by AJ the Sewer Fox.
Hey everyone, it's your host, AJ the Silver Fox, and welcome back to another episode of I'm Friends with the DJ. Joining me today is, well, actually, this is a very special episode for me because joining me is one of my favorite DJs. I have had the pleasure to see him play in every major city in Texas. This DJ has played coast to coast from New York to California. I even got the pleasure to see him play at one of my most favorite venues, Babel, in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. I'm talking about my brother from another mother, my very good friend, DJ Rudy. Hey, Rudy.
Hey, AJ, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. First, thank you for joining me, and let's get right into it. So let's start from the beginning, okay? You're from
Eagle Pass, Texas.
Eagle Pass, and when did you get to San Antonio?
I moved to San Antonio back in 2003 when I was 22. I had to get out of Eagle Pass.
We all have to leave the small town, right?
Yes.
Is that when did you experience like your first EDM, or what made you?
Ooh, we got to go back 24 years. Back in 2001, when I was 21, I went to Austin. I went to my first underground rave back then. And that was my first experience with EDM, with electronic dance music. And it was trance, house music, hard house, UK hard house, and it was everything. Those parties changed my life completely because I fell in love with electronic music back then.
So you were like a candy raver, or
in between, I was a raver for sure. I became a full-blown raver, and it was all about the music for me. Seeing back then DJs like DJ Arlene, George Acosta, back big time DJs in the rave scene back then.
Yeah. So, and how long had you been doing that prior to, like when did your DJ journey begin?
It began shortly after that because I wanted to learn how to DJ because back then DJing was done through vinyl, and it was a skill that you had to learn. And so when I was still like 21, 22, I saved my income tax, which is like $350 back then, and I bought what they called DJ in a box, which was a little mixer, 2-channel mixer with 2 turntables, headphones, and that was it. And I would spend hours buying vinyl records, listening to music, and little by little, I learned how to beat match and self-taught myself how to move around through vinyl. And it was a hobby back then. It wasn't anything that I did as a career like I do now. And that was it. I did it for a few years just as a side hobby.
Yeah. And so, when and tell me a little bit about like playing with vinyl, because I know a lot of like newer DJs now like have never even experienced anything like that. What's the difference? Like let the listeners know who have no clue about it.
Well, back in vinyl, it's not like today where you see the sound waves on a CDJ. You had to listen to the actual song and to kind of dissect it to find the beat, and every track on the vinyl had a different BPM, which is beats per minute, and you had to beat match it to the other track. It was a constant type of practice while the song is playing to beat match it to this song that's already playing. And once you found the beat and you adjust the BPM and you're able to let them go and mix them and blend them together, that was, what the skill was back then. And of course, just blending songs was hard, because you had to really fine tune it, And so today it's so much easier to beat match, But technology made everything easy for everyone, but.
And do you remember like tell me about your first gig? Like what was your first, like whether it was like for friends at home, which I know a little something about that, or was it like tell me about that.
My first, I guess, gig. Well, the first time I played, like we talking about vinyl or more current now?
Let's all of it. Let's start. Let's go through
Oh,
the process of it.
okay, the first time I played with vinyl was at my house, and it was like a little party that we threw. Me and my other friends that were also DJs back then, and there's pictures, and I know people have some recorded videos of it. I just can't find them, but it's just me playing, and the other I had a kind of like a friend that kind of taught me and kind of like kind of like coached me into that, and I could hear her in the video saying faster, like play the other track faster. I clearly remember. I can't find the video anywhere, but I remember that video, and that was the first time I played vinyl in front of people. And then again, we would always get together on the weekends and just play music, and
And
at people's houses, and that was it.
and like what circa or era was this? What time frame are we looking
2000,
at?
2002
Oh
through
wow.
2004, because by then I
Wow.
had moved to San Antonio and I brought everything with me.
Yeah.
And around 2004, 2005, I sold my little mixer and turntables because I needed to eat. I needed to eat,
Wow.
food. And I kept just maybe about 20 records that were my favorite ones. And I still have those today. But that was the end of that. Like I left that behind, and that was the end of it. I never thought I would ever touch it again
Right. And then
until.
and then comes your professional life, and you forget about it and you start doing your normal day to day, and
Mhm.
then COVID happens, right?
COVID happens. Well, prior to COVID in 2019, I was at a circuit party, and I turned around and told my partner, I said, husband, I said, I want to be up there. And he's like, what? Like be a DJ? I was like, yeah, I want to be up there. And he never said no to me. And so I said, well, he said, well, let's do it. And we, again, got a little laptop, a little mixer, some headphones, a little speaker. And I said, okay, let's do this. I had no idea where to start or where to look for music or anything like that. But I just bought it and left it aside, and that's when COVID happened. And COVID was like, we're not doing anything at home. What you bought all this stuff now, touch it, start using it. And that's what happened. That's what I started doing during COVID, spending time at home and learning how to use the technology I didn't know how to use. So,
Yeah. I mean, I love that. And it's like from humble beginnings that you just kind of like grew, and to hear you starting out with vinyl and your little, two mixer set that you were saying, and then you're an international DJ. You know what I mean? Like that's wild, right?
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to even think about it because 2019 is not so long ago. 2020, my first paying gig was New Year's of 2021. Um, and that's been like 4 years ago,
Yeah.
from going on 5 already. So
So that was your
yeah, it's
first paying gig, and what place was this at? If you don't like,
was here at the Heat. Actually, no, I'm
okay,
sorry. That was my first gig at the club. Sorry, my first paying gig was in Dallas for a party called it was a New Year's party. Uh, I forget the name of the party. My mind just went blank.
and was that like a house party or was that?
No, it was at a venue. I
Oh,
opened for
cool,
GSP. Yeah.
nice. Oh yes. Oh, he's hot. And so, like, what's your favorite part about DJing?
Oh my God, it's just making people dance and connecting with them in that level, because for me, I sometimes create all these sets, of music and try to take people on what they call a journey, from people that follow me from the beginning, once they get there toward the end of the night, to me, it's a journey of music. And so finding a way to connect with them on that level and just seeing people just having a blast is to me everything. That's why I do it.
So it's all about energy, right? So
Hmm.
you're seeing the energy, you're up on stage and you're looking down at the crowd moving, and can you explain for those of us who never sat behind the deck and witnessed it, what does that feel like?
It's like a natural high, like a natural rush of just excitement and just it's a give and take. You know, you give them and they give you back all this amazing energy back, and so you feel it, you know. And if they can feel you as you know when you're playing the music, that's also like you give and take. It's like a reciprocal type of feeling, you know, when you have connection like that with a crowd.
What with that, do you have like one particular moment in your history of being a DJ and playing for us, your fans? What is there one particular moment that you recall and it stays in your mind where you were like in sync with the crowd and you just kind of felt that? What tell me about it?
There's been so many, but I can tell you one specifically. I DJ'd in LA at this party, Reload, and when I was done with my set, this guy came up to me and he just wanted to shake my hand and say thank you so much, you know, for the set and everything. His words were like, I could feel you when you were up there. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I can feel you. You know, many DJs go up there and they play their music and everything, but with you it was different. I could feel you, and that was everything to me. You know, because when they tell you, they can feel your energy, that's awesome.
You know,
I'll never forget that.
I definitely, you know, I've witnessed and have heard that being told to you on more than one occasion, and it really is true. There's been many times where you know, to name that I've gotten to experience that, and I'm very fortunate too. It's you're creating magic up there. You really are, and giving us the energy to just dance and dance and dance and move with the beat. And you know, I've called you a chameleon before because you have changed and molded yourself and tell me about that, like what has, you know, what makes you create and what inspires you and to have all these different kinds of like beats and sounds, what inspires you?
Well, music in general, like there could be a track that I can listen to and be like, oh my god, I love this track. I want to create a podcast out of because of this track, and so I create a podcast out of one track that inspires me to do, and I gather different types of music that kind of resemble the same to give that same feeling overall in the podcast. But in general, I feel like just I love music, you know, and I like to share music with people. So
I love that. Has there been, on an opposite spectrum, has there been a time where, you know, there's you know, I've met several different kinds of DJs and some starting and some who are pros at this point who've been doing it a while, like you. And has there been some time where you weren't getting that energy from the crowd, and what did that feel like? And go over that with me.
oh yeah, of course. I mean, there's many times that that can happen. You know, the feeling is not there, the crowd's not there. You can give it your all, and you know. But I an advice that I got from a really good friend, Isis, is that she said to me, "It doesn't matter if you're playing for 10 people or 1,000 people. You still give the same energy back to them, no matter what." And that has always stuck to me since day one. You know, it doesn't matter if there's 20 people on the dance floor. If five of them are dancing, you're doing something, you know.
Exactly.
But you know, if for the nights that I haven't felt that connection where I think that, oh my god, and connect with them, I still get down. I could still have a few come up to and be like, oh my god, that was amazing. One person, if it one person make I made one person happy, to me that was good.
Are
I did my
you
job.
exactly? And I mean, you always do your job and very well.
Thank
Um,
you.
is What has been the biggest challenge? Like what has been the biggest challenge in this industry that you've overcome?
Oh my god. To me, I guess just dealing with different different levels as far as a career, because sometimes you're up, 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 and sometimes you're down, as far as gigs and getting hired and all that, and just keeping your head straight, and not giving up, because as I can say, as a newbie DJ and a more established DJ now, like in the beginning, I was aching to get those gigs, and then once I was getting them, and all of a sudden, like, you start plateauing, but you still get, the gigs here and there, but you just gotta know that it doesn't matter if you go up, you gotta stay up, because if you go up, there's sometimes all the other directions just going down,
Right.
and you can't go down. You gotta, as long as you stay relevant and stay positive. I think that's has been one of my biggest challenges, is just stay positive, and the scene, because the scene can really bring you down if you let it.
Right. And you mentioned DC's, and she's amazing performer. I love her so much. What do you have, like a mentor, or do you have
Yes.
let's talk about that.
My mentor, my mother, Nina Flowers. Um, when I met Nina, she immediately adopted me and said, "You're my son," and she's always been there for me, and I, as a mentor, as a friend, as a mother, as a guiding light to me, she's always there. I always think, and never, if ever have come across a situation where I'm like, what should I do? What would Nina do? How would Nina handle this? And it always works out. Another one is Eric Ibiza, my brother. Same thing, guiding me, giving me great advice, as far as this industry, and a great, great friend. I consider him family, my brother. And also Isis Muretak. Great person. If anything, like, I can always reach out to them and for any advice, and they've always mentored me the right way.
All three of their names that you've mentioned are, I mean, I follow their SoundCloud, and I've met them obviously through you. Thank you so much. And they really are great people. They are genuine and humble, and it's not, as great artists as they are, it hasn't gone to their head because they're so humble. And I see
Hmm.
that's you.
Hmm.
That's very much you. As big as your head could be,
Yeah.
it's you're still humble, Rudy, at the end of the day, and I love that. And why do you think that is?
It's very easy to get into your head and allow it for your head to get big, and if that happens, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, I feel. um One of the things, also advice that Nina gave me, was to always remain humble no matter what, and that will get you to a lot of places and open doors for you, because uh, it's just, it's more natural, it's just stay humble,
Yeah.
it's not hard, be grateful, especially, for everything that's
Yes.
happening, because a lot of people would want to have this,
Right.
and just being grateful, and it all comes together, and you attract the same type of people that are like on your same level as far as energy, it all has to do with energy.
Yeah, yeah, no, period. I mean, we've had several conversations that we do constantly mention that, and you are one of my favorite DJs, but you're also one of my favorite beings on this planet. You really are, and
Oh,
I'm very grateful to have you be a part of my life. So, um,
I love
back to,
you.
I love you too. Before I start crying, let's go back to the interview. Uh, what's one misconception that people have about DJs?
That they're the biggest party animals in the world. I mean, some of them are, but to me, I am
Right.
so introverted, like, if I could be at home in bed and have nothing to do, I would be so happy. But of course, I love being on stage, but a lot of DJs that I know are very introverted,
Yeah.
they're very quiet, they're very timid, and once they get up there, it's like they rip, everything open, and I feel like I'm very much like that too. It's one of the misconceptions, and even though, like, you see me with a lot of people, I know a lot of people, I'm very introverted. I open up to just the right amount of people and to the people I feel most comfortable with.
And I've been very fortunate to be one of those. So, I think that it's really really beautiful when you really kind of see people start again from like the humble beginnings and then just kind of like progress into something amazing and beautiful and transform and it couldn't happen to anyone better. So that's
Thank
amazing to
you.
you. So outside of music,
Mhm.
what keeps you grounded? What keeps you inspired aside from music?
Oh, my partners, my husband, my partner. Like, he's such a a person that just grounds me, and on every level, Eh, if he won't let me get it, he won't let my head get big, anyway, because he's the type of person that, and you know him,
Yes.
but
I'm
also
laughing.
also my having my family here near me, also makes me very human and very grounded as far as life itself.
Yeah. It's always amazing when you have that to fall back on, and there's some people that don't, and there's some people that are very fortunate that do, and it's great when you have that connection and love that's there to support and help you with that. Um, what's coming up? What do you have going on? What do we have? What's
Which is
coming?
what's coming. We have bear house parties coming up. I have another party in December at the Heat just by myself. So those are great journey parties that if you want to come over and experience, from start to finish, even though it's like a 7 hour set. uh, I love those because I get to play so differently. Different times of the night. You know, and so you get to experience the full experience of me, as a DJ.
Yeah. I, on that and the different kinds that you do and the journey you take your fans through that get to dance with you. What is there a certain podcast that you have on your SoundCloud that's your favorite or you're most proud of?
Oh my God. Yes, there's one called El Afters. When I started doing my podcast in the beginning, I came up with this name called Zona Circuito because I wanted the podcast to be very Latin inspired, and but there's one called Zona Circuito El Afters. Um, it's one of the it stands out from all of them because I took it took me 14 tries to get that podcast right because it's an hour long and if I messed up towards the end, I had to start all over again. And I think it happened to me like 14 times where I was not happy with it and I kept having to start all over again. And maybe about 7 hours it took me to perfect that podcast. And I mean, today I can do a podcast in an hour and just be done with it. But back then, I was so meticulous with how I wanted for it to sound, and the transitions and the mixes weren't to my standards. And so, um, it's it was a hard podcast to do, but as it turned out, it became a lot of people's favorite, including my brother Eric Ibiza, and he told me one time that he would play that podcast at his house at an afters all the time. And I was like, yeah, sure, but no, no, no. When we were in PV a few years back, during Semana Santa, he spent the weekend with us at Airbnb there. And every time we would go out, come back to the Airbnb, he would play that podcast nonstop from start to finish over and over and over again for 3 nights straight. And I realized, yeah, that's he's told me, he's like, that is the perfection of a podcast to me. Coming from him, it was everything. I realized. So to me that, and not only that, but I made that podcast as a gift, as a birthday gift to my husband, Jesse. And so, yeah, I mean, that podcast to me means a lot.
And listeners, those of you who are not familiar with the name Eric Ibiza, he is major. He is one of the biggest producers coming out of Mexico, and is
Mhm.
so young. It blows my mind how young he is and how talented he is. And
He's a
I've had
genius.
he is a genius. He really is a savant. His the creations that he does. I could go on and on about him. And there's the language barrier that I wish I spoke better at Spanish. And he's there trying, and he's just again so humble and amazing. He's such good people, and you need to find his SoundCloud also, people.
Mhm.
It's amazing, and he's very, very well known. So to hear that that is his favorite podcast, Rudy's, that is
Mhm.
huge, everyone.
Mhm.
So to change it up a little bit, I have a little like quick fire round that I want to do. I'm calling it the quick mix. So
Okay.
let's the first thing that comes off of your mind, okay?
Uh-huh.
So morning person or night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. Favorite city you've played at?
Oof, LA.
And I already know this, but introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Introvert. Your favorite DJ or producer at this moment?
Eric Ibiza.
Eric Ibiza. And what's your sign?
Leo.
Does it fit you?
You tell me.
I love it. Okay, now finish the sentence, okay?
Uh-huh.
Life is more fun when.
When you are happy.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. So I want to thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me. Where can anyone listening, where can they find you? Where are you at?
I'm on SoundCloud. Rue-D. Just plain Rue-D.
So is
So if RUE
RUE-D or
dash D or space D. I think I took off the dash. Kind of took
okay?
off the dash, just the Rudy. You can find it on my podcast, of music. And it's different varieties of privat, guaracha, and tech house and techno. So I've been venturing out a little bit and changing some stuff, because you have to evolve, You just cannot just be stuck in one box,
Exactly,
You got to
exactly.
evolve. Music evolves all the time, and so you got to keep evolving.
I forgot. I do have one last question.
Okay.
So if you could tell your younger self, the one just starting DJing, one thing, what would it be?
You're doing it right. Don't give up. You do have talent. Don't doubt yourself. You'll get there.
Beautiful. Well, Rudy, thank you so much for joining me. This interview has been a few years in the making.
I'm so
We
proud of
finally
you.
did it. Thank you so much. Thank you. And again, everyone, if you don't already, please follow Rudy on Instagram, which is DJ underscore RUE underscore D. Check him out November 22nd for the Bear House Takeover at Heat Nightclub. And again, go check out his SoundCloud. So thank you so much for joining me. And this has been I'm Friends with the DJ, because life is more fun when you're friends with the DJ. And I'm your host, AJ the Silver Fox. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.